Welcome to the Informed Minority, where we break down the market using ICT concepts. Today we're going to break down the trades I took this week. If you're ready to level up your trading game, you're in the right place. Let's dive into the video. So this week was kind of tough. Your boy from doing pretty good to having a little bit of a struggle, but we're going to get there. We're going to be all right. This is a long year. So I'm going to talk about the trade that I took on Tuesday, February 3rd, 2025. The MNQ short. Here's the trade. The down arrow is where I sold, and the blue arrow is where I ended up selling my position out because I was on the wrong side, and that's okay. Here is the economic calendar. I like to flesh out days where I'm looking to trade and other days where I'm looking to avoid trading. So this week, since it was NFP, I was looking at Monday, Tuesday as days to trade. Wednesday was a possible day. And as you look at the price action on Thursday, definitely don't want to be a part of that. Always do like to look at the higher time frame and flush out what we'd be looking for. So when we look at the lower time frame, we can get that understanding of what bias we should be looking for. I've been looking for higher prices, so that's what I was expecting. Now, we're at the top of this inverse fair value gap. That's where we were. So when we traded down on the 1 hour chart, and I think I have a picture of this, we'll zoom in. This fair value gap right here, I was expecting price to hold and then trade higher. Notice where this fair value gap is. So we always have to have a narrative and a framework of how we're going to attack each day. We had the new week opening gap from this current week. That was my target. That's what I was looking for price to end up. This was the fair value gap that I was focusing on, and I was looking for price to ultimately trade higher. So we have SMT here. This is what I like to see in my trades. We have SMT letting us know that there is a underlying shift occurring, that the big boys, or the whales, some people like to call them, are in the market at play. There is something going on down here. I just know that this is a signal letting me know that we should be looking for higher prices. This is the first presented fair value gap chart that I like to look at. It gives me an indication of when I'm going to expect certain things to happen. I usually like them to form before 9:40. Again, this one, Monday, February 3rd, 2025 at 9:30. I like to know when they're being created. What I do at the end of every day, I go from the higher time frame down and mark up my charts, even if it was a win or if it was a loss, just so when I see these things occurring in live price action, I know how to anticipate but also to react to them. As we see here, we had this fair value gap. Overall, I was looking for higher prices, but I saw it as an inverse fair value gap when we closed below this. I was expecting us to use this and potentially trade a little bit lower. So I ended up getting, you could say, tricked or kind of lulled to sleep with seeing this. So I ended up taking a short here, believing that we had now inversed. I only looked for 50 handles, so I wasn't necessarily looking all the way down there, but you can see where the confusion was this week. I also saw this 5-minute value gap respected. We were in a lower portion of this 15-minute inverse fair value gap. We had this order block, and then this order block, it was a fair value gap. So I was expecting this to resist price and see if we can clean up some of this down here. That's ultimately what I was looking for, even though higher time frame I was bullish. This is what it looks like on the 1-minute chart. I pretty much got stopped out immediately, but this was the 5-minute order block, which it had hit. As you see, we had a fair value gap there. I talked about it on the live stream. If I felt more confident, I would have taken a trade here, but I did not believe that this was going to be a fair breakaway gap. And as you see, it didn't really offer the sell setup anyways. It kind of just ran through all of that. But that's pretty much the framework for this trade. Is I saw inverse fair value gap on a 15-minute chart, and I saw support. That's the only reason why I took this trade. Even though higher time frame I was bullish, I just wasn't seeing bullish at the moment. Here are the macro times. As you see, it's weird because if you go back, you see this during the macro time. Let's look back at the charts. It's actually not even there. I don't know if anyone else has kind of seen some stuff where the charts look different, but anyways, this is the macro times. I like to trade around macro times. As you see, it pretty much, reversed and kind of just went higher and then kind of consolidated in the rest of the day. Nothing really significant here. But if you look around macro times, that's again where I like trading and focusing around them. That's pretty much why I use them. So here's a trade. I kind of explained everything and what's on here about why I took the trade down here and ended up being a loss, and that's okay. There's nothing really, I'm not upset about anything. In my trades, I like to see, what I did well and also what can I improve on. What I can improve on in this trade was sticking to my original bias, which was higher prices. So I pretty much went against my initial bias, and that's what kind of made me take this trade. Even though I wasn't seeing bullish support, it made me switch to potentially looking for bearish price action, especially after we hit the top end of the new week opening gap. And I kept seeing bearish support forming and being respected. That's what made me take this trade. So I was just to improve on sticking to my original buys. What did I do well? I was patient and followed my process and took the trade at pretty much a logical level. It looks like a lot of my other trades, high, low, higher high there with the fair value gap. So it looks like a lot of my other trades, I just went against my initial buys. I'm okay with this. I'm not upset that I did this. Again, it's just a learning experience. I understand I'm not going to win every single trade. I understand trading is a game of numbers, not a game of right or wrong. So as long as I can consistently find a setup and consistently manage my risk, I know that I'm good. I'll talk about the statistics on this trade. I was in the trade for like a whopping 5 seconds. It was pretty fast. I got stopped out pretty fast. The amount of handles it was in drawdown was almost immediately, and I lost 32 handles. Not upset. This just happens in trading. Wednesday, February 5th, 2025, the MNQ Long. Now, this one kind of hurt, and I'll kind of show and explain a little bit later. I'm not going to sit here and say that this was a fun one to see, but you know what? It is what it is. I was looking for higher prices. The blue arrow is where I buy, and the red arrow is where I get my stop loss. We'll get into that. We derive a narrative and understanding from the higher time frame. So again, where are we? In the upper portion of a weekly fair value gap that would be reclaimed. We have a daily volume imbalance there and also there, but pretty much they're the same. We have this weekly order block that's there as well. I'm pretty sure I'll have a zoom in picture, but you have this order block down here, and we had recently respected it. I'm thinking we're gonna trade up to these highs that are right below this daily volume imbalance that's up there, that they perfectly left right there. And I was expecting us to trade up there. Zoom in on the hourly chart. Again, this order block, which we had responded from, highs below a daily volume imbalance, that's where I'm targeting. Here is the new week opening gap chart layout that I have. Again, these equal highs right here, look where they're resting, also below the new week opening gap from December 29th. There was a lot of things telling me that price is going to trade higher. That's what I was expecting. Also, if you see here, here's an inverse fair value gap on an hourly chart. Things stacking in the upper portion where price is being held. Again, I was expecting for price to trade up there. Here's SMT. Here's what I like to do and indicate in my trades that help me pick out the trades that are more important to me. SMT doesn't always just have to be the wicks. It can be the bodies. And as you look down here, remember the wicks do the damage, the bodies tell the story. So I was looking at the bodies here and we see SMT there. So that's, again, I don't need to know what's going on down here. I don't even need to buy down here. I'm just looking for indications that let me know that something is going on in price and I need to pay attention. Here is the first presented fair value gap. This is the charts that I keep so I understand where it is and what time it's being formed. As you see, this one formed here. And if you go through the live stream, I kind of explained why I would not even buy it there. I was not interested in there. But when we came up here, I did have some interest. But as you see, it ended up going higher. And that's what I mean by it hurt a little bit. Okay, so in all my trades, I go from top down. This one I decided to show the 4-hour chart because it was more important and it was actually what I was using. So you see this 4-hour fair value gap and also this 4-hour order block. So I was expecting this upper portion of the 4-hour fair value gap that's coupled up with this 4-hour order block to hold price and for us to trade higher. So now going down to the 15-minute chart, here was the inverse fair value gap that I was talking about. We had respected this order block there, and then we had this order block here. We had hit here and was expecting this to go higher, but this is the candle that I had gotten stopped out on. Look where all this is forming. Look how it's also being held in the upper portion. I don't have the 4-hour order block on here, but remember that was also in the upper portion of this as well. And we expected that to support price. We go down to the 5-minute chart again. So here's a 15-minute order block. I was looking at this order block. We hit that, and then the trade that I took it off of was this 5-minute propulsion block. You know, that's where the trade had happened and occurred, and was expecting higher prices, again targeting the equal highs that were right below that new week opening gap. So here is the 1-minute chart. I'm seeing support in a particular area. I see this order block here, and we come down and tap it and run away. Then we create this fair value gap that's also inside of the first presented fair value gap. When I saw this trade above here, initially I was looking for a fair value gap to be created above this high, but then I had noticed that we had created this one down below. So I was looking for this to support price, and I put my stop loss below here because I did not expect it to come back down. It went a couple handles in my direction and then pretty much just ripped lower, stopping me out. Here are the macros, and this is why I said this one hurt a little bit, I ain't gonna lie. I ended up getting stopped out down here. and then look where we ended up trading to. We traded up above the high and even a little bit higher. This is trading, but this is a high resistant day. As you can see, it was really consolidated in the morning. I wasn't really looking for lower prices. I was expecting price to go higher. Again, just bought at the wrong time, but overall it was a very good executed trade. We look at the macro times where price is turning, all pretty much at the macro times. That's why I like trading around them. So here's a trade setup. I will talk about the statistics on this trade. I was in the trade for a whopping 5 seconds. I pretty much had 7 handles in profit and then ripped pretty much against me 22.75 handles. It wasn't a very long trade, and I only take 1 trade a day in my rules, so I was not able to get back in later, and that's fine. This happens in trading. You have losing weeks, you have losing days, potentially may have a losing month, but there's a lot of trading left, and this is not going to change how I look at the market at all. In all my trades, I like to talk about what did I do well and what do I need to improve on. In this trade, there's really nothing that I would need to improve on. I was waiting for the trade. I think it was a very well executed trade. I think that a lot of the things that I saw were stacking. This was just a trade where it just happened to be a loss when everything was stacking in my favor, and also I was with the bias. Really nothing here that I could see that tell me that I could improve on specifically with this trade. What did I do well? I was very patient and waited for my setup to occur. I didn't get confused and locked in the wrong area, or I didn't go against my bias because I saw specific things. I waited for my setup, and when it came, I bought it. I'm very proud of myself for that. That just happened to be this week where I took 2 trades and they ended up both being losers. It is what it is. It's a part of trading. I've learned to accept that, and I'm very comfortable with that now. Before, that used to be a very big problem for me. Thanks for tuning into The Informed Minority. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to follow on my trading journey. Let me know how you guys did this week. I just want to let you guys know that your support really means the world to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace out.